Well, good morning. It is Eric at SoCal Cigars, and I am here making a video in sunny Southern California. Okay, well, not so sunny. It's actually kind of rainy and kind of gray, and it's actually supposed to rain today. So, again, we do have weather in Southern California, believe it or not. Anyway, so I wanted to come out here, have a cigar, have a cup of coffee, wake up, that type of thing. Which I know a lot of us do. I know I've mentioned before that, like when I go on rides on the bike, a lot of times we meet really early and we always have a morning cigar. So I figured, well, I'm sure there's a lot of people on the weekends that want to come out and have a cigar in the morning with a cup of coffee. It's not always just a afternoon or a after dinner thing. For a lot of us, smoking cigars is just kind of whenever you feel like it. And I think a lot of times in the morning, when you first get up, to me, sometimes having a cigar is kind of like having that cup of coffee. It gives you that little hit of nicotine and a little flavor, just kind of gets you going. And plus, as the research has shown, even with cardiologists, will sometimes argue that, to go ahead, have that cigar. It's not that bad for you, as if you've seen in my other video, it's not that bad for you. And actually, the reduction in anxiety, stress, in the kind of calming aspects of sitting down and having a cigar can be really beneficial. So I think starting off a weekend morning with a cup of coffee and a cigar is a perfect way to go. So that being said, how do we choose that cigar? So a lot of times you'll see pairing videos where you're talking about, this cigar goes with this wine or with this whiskey or with this whatever. What about coffee? So the more I thought about it, I was kind of thinking, well, there's black coffee, there's coffee with cream and sugar, there's flavored coffees, there's going to Starbucks and grabbing something that's really basically you're drinking a milkshake for breakfast. But either way, I like those too. I'm not sure for me that I have to really worry too much about pairing a cigar to a very specific type of coffee. I think for me, regardless of the type of coffee I'm going to have, the cigar for me is always going to still be flavored. It's going to be infused. And you understand what I mean when I say flavored. I don't mean grape flavored from the gas station. I mean a good cigar. I just still have a hard time when I say flavored. I know eyes start rolling, and it's like I'd never mean flavored like crappy, cheap cigars from a gas station. But I do mean cigars that are full of flavor. And I think that a cigar for me full of flavor doesn't mean that regular cigars aren't full of flavor too. It's just much different. With a regular cigar, you're tasting a blend of natural tobaccos that are not altered. And so you're really tasting what that designer's blend is supposed to be. And I think that's very unique and very awesome in its own right. When you're talking about flavored cigars, though, you are talking about infusing some kind of flavor to it. And I think that for me, in general, I like that. And for me, in the mornings, I really like that. Because I think in the morning when you wake up, you're kind of half asleep, a little drowsy. I think you need that real bold hit. I think that's why sometimes we want a cup of coffee. I know we should probably get up and have a glass of water, but we want that cup of coffee because it gives you that jolt, that hit. It's warm, it tastes good, it's flavorful, it's got the caffeine we're looking for. So I think the same can be said about a cigar. I want that flavor, I want that hit, I want that nicotine. So anyway, so that's where I'm going to be coming from, in my opinion, regardless of the coffee you're drinking. In fact, I don't know, I grabbed some pod in our stack that is, I think it was a white chocolate mocha caramel something or other, whatever. Other days I have black coffee because I get coffee from a friend of mine from Peru, and it tastes like chocolate on its own. I don't need to put anything in it. And other days, like at work, I usually just have like a little bit of cream and sugar. But on the weekends, I tend to have like a flavored coffee like this. So for me, I've got some go-tos that I know we've talked about, and what I'm going to do is I'll list out all these cigars below, so you can see the list. So don't worry about keeping track too much. You'll see the list below. One popular cigar for me and a lot of the guys I'm riding and hanging out with is going to be back to the Isla del Sol. Like I've done a whole review on this cigar. Inexpensive. It's a good daily smoke. It's sweet. You know, they put some flavoring on the outside of the wrapper, so you do get that flavor. It's mellow. It's not really complex, but it's got a lot of flavor and a pretty good punch for the money. So I would say Isla del Sol is one of the top runners for me. If you're gonna go more into the flavored cigars that along the acid line, I mean, to be honest with you, I think almost everything I've grabbed has been Drew Estate. But within the acid line, you know, obviously the extremely popular Kuba. This is a fantastic cigar. The flavor is awesome on it. It's again, it's got a sweet tip. But the infused oils they use when they make this cigar are just fantastic, and I think pair perfectly with any kind of coffee you would drink in the morning. And for me, in the same line, pretty much the same flavor profile, is the acid deep dish. So what this is this is a box press versus round. Why I like this one, I think that I don't know, the size of it is awesome. The smoke you get is amazing. And I would punch this. I wouldn't use a cutter on this. I would punch this. But the way it draws and the length of the smoke and the amount of smoke you get from this box press size, for some reason, man, it is just awesome. But pretty much in the same line as the Kuba as far as the flavor profile goes. The other area I would get into would be literally flavored cigars, really. And these are, again, Drew Estate. This is the Java series. And as you can see, this is a Java Mint. So within that Java series, there are other Javas. Like over here, I've got a Java Red that I'll show you in a minute. And there's also there's a standard one too that I actually didn't have. But I'll list that below too, one of the other Java series. But this Java Mint is fantastic. It's punched with flavor. And it's a really, really smooth smoke. So in the morning, it's almost, I guess you could say it to some degree, it's like a menthol cigarette, or almost like a kind of that vapor you get, that really clean. It almost like it cleans out your sinuses. So I would argue that a Java Mint in the morning with a cup of coffee would probably be pretty good. The only thing I would argue is that because it does have that mint flavor, it may be a clash with the coffee you're drinking. If you're drinking a really sweet coffee and with this mint in it, it might not be the perfect pairing. But I would argue if you had like a black coffee, this Java Mint would be awesome with that. If you want to get into a little more of the natural, this is kind of leaning like a balance between a natural, regular, let's say a regular cigar, and an infused cigar. This is the Drew Estate. This is like their natural series. And this one, for example, is called the Natural Dirt Torpedo. It's a little torpedo-shaped cigar. The flavoring on this is amazing. It's not overly flavored. So if you want something that's a little more subtle, that doesn't really overpower maybe the coffee you're drinking, and for the morning, it's a really subtle flavor. It is an awesome, awesome cigar. And they do make several series of these. Like for example, this one's a Dirt Torpedo. This one I think is the Barcelona. So this is just a different shape. This is more of a Robusto. Flavor-wise, they're about the same. So I guess at that rate, it's just choose what you want. I love the torpedo-shaped cigars. I think the way you can cut them and the way they burn and draw are awesome. I think you can really customize or tweak the draw on a torpedo because of the shape of the end. Because if you have to keep cutting up and up and up, you can to keep opening up that draw. Where your average cigar with a cap on it, you can only cut so far before you're passing the cap and unraveling your cigar. So I think a torpedo, if you've never smoked one, that's a great cigar to to try out. So there's another series that are awesome by Drew Estate. Like I said, I should be wearing a Drew Estate shirt. Hey Drew Estate, if you ever see this, I like your cigars and I talk about them constantly. Wink wink. Anyway, they have this series called Tabak, and a lot of the guys I ride with love these Tabak. And here there's two versions. This one is the Dulce, so you can see it's more like a light wrappered Connecticut. And then there's the Negra, which is obviously more of like a borderlining on a Maduro wrapper. I think it's still pretty light for a Maduro, but it is a Maduro. And again, this is the little bit of a torpedo shape on this one as well. So these Tabaks are awesome cigars too. They are they're kind of in the line with the natural series, but with a little more flavor to them. So I think with a morning smoke and with a cup of coffee, I think a Tabak, any of the Tabaks would be awesome. So maybe look into those. If you wanted to go with maybe a shorter time frame on a smoke, I know in the morning it could be that you don't have as much time. Maybe you've got a busy day and you just want to kind of come have a cup of coffee, and you'll tend to, if you're having one cup of coffee and 45-minute cigar, you're going to finish the coffee very quickly and be smoking the cigar, and that'll be it. You could go to a smaller cigar. So there's 3 of those I'll show you that I would probably consider for a morning smoke. One is what I already talked about. I was going to show you is the Java Red. Okay, so that's that's a really good infused cigar. It's in the same Java series. It's their red, a little bit darker. It's got a pretty strong flavor to it. It's a really good tasting cigar. I think that would pair really well with a morning's cup of coffee, and it's a little shorter. So you're maybe looking at, I don't know, 25 minutes on this one versus like 45 minutes to an hour. If you want to go like me, loving the acids, especially that blue series, it's like the Kuba, but it's their smaller version of that called the Blondie. So this again is like probably a 25-minute smoke. So if you didn't want to spend the time and you want that full flavor hit, a Blondie would be a perfect cigar. And last, I'm kind of going to sneak this one in here too, because they also have the Blondie Candela, which, remember, I reviewed the Candela, that talking about it's an earthy and grassy. It's a very it's almost like a sweet, earthy flavor. It's really unique. And again, I would argue if you're having like just maybe a cup of coffee with cream and sugar, not necessarily a flavored coffee like I'm having this morning, I think this one would be really, really cool complement to that flavor profile. So that's a possibility too. So what I think I'm gonna do for me, being so I've got 3/4 a cup left, I got to get a bunch of stuff done today. I'm gonna go with the little Blondie. So let's unwrap that sucker and make this happen. Sorry about all the noise. I have dogs in my neighborhood that seem to bark constantly, which is fine. I have dogs too. Mine don't seem to bark as much as my neighbor's dogs, but a lot of the dogs they have are outside. Mine are inside dogs. They're smaller. Oh wow, you can really see the cap on this one. It's amazing. You can really see how far down that's come. They got a little pigtail on this one. So I'm going to cut this guy with my V cutter. Not too deep. I'm trying to get it not too heavy of a hit on that one. That's good. And we'll do the usual. We'll toast it real quick. Just change it to color, dark instead of tan. That way we can light it evenly and quickly. Yeah, see, right away with a cup of coffee, you get that sweet hit off the wrapper. Yeah, see, that's perfect for me for the morning time. I'm telling you, it's a perfect compliment. That that coffee that's got a lot of sweetness to it, that chocolate caramel in it, and then you've got the sweetness that's on this wrapper, and then the infused oils that are in this tobacco. And this is really, really nice smoke for the cup of coffee I'm having. And I still agree with what I said in the beginning. I don't think it really matters too much about the coffee. I think that any of these cigars will go with any of the coffee you have. I just think that some maybe are suited a little bit better to others, but I don't think there's any wrong answer here. I don't think you could pick any of these cigars in any cup of coffee and go, wow, that was horrible. I think they'll all do just fine together, but I think some might be a little better than others for certain combinations. Well, I haven't had a Blondie in a while. That's a good cigar. And the good thing about it is it's going to be quick. And I'm not going to be out here for 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to go to finish my cup of coffee, finish off this cigar, and then just move on to my day. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to list, like I said, I'll list these out for you so you can at least see what I put in this video. Maybe give them a try. This is a perfect opportunity to go to your brick and mortar shop and buy a couple of these cigars just to give them a try. But I would really argue if you're going to buy nothing else and you just want to try a couple cigars with a cup of coffee in the morning, I mean, I would argue, you know, maybe to start with, pick up an Isla del Sol, because they're not too expensive, the investment's small, and they're a really, really, really good cigar. I think they do suit really well. This is probably one of the most common cigars I smoke in the morning time. Just because it's mellow. It has a lot of flavor for what it is. The price is right to, you know, have it as a daily. But I think what it offers is amazing for the price. And another one I really do love is this Natural Dirt Torpedo. This has got to be one of my favorite cigars because it's, like I said, it's that gentle blend between kind of like a regular cigar and an infused cigar. The flavor on this one is phenomenal. So if you've never tried anything out of their Natural series, Larutan, I would definitely give this a shot. This is a fantastic cigar. And the Natural Dirt Torpedo, I found to be the size and the shape in that torpedo. You can really customize the draw on this thing, and it's just a fantastic cigar. So that might be the two I would try first, is one of these two. If you're short on time and you want to just get a really inexpensive cigar and have a really quick smoke and not invest the 45 minutes to one of these, is pick up the Blondie. Try that one for maybe your first shot as well. I think between one of these three cigars, you're going to be happy with it. And then maybe move on to some of the other ones. The Tabaks are really good. So, hey, as a little side note, as I was finishing up, as you can see, I took the wrapper off my Blondie, and I've been sitting here just enjoying this little cigar. After making that video, it started to rain. It's gray. It's beautiful. I can hear the rain hitting everything. Just wanted to reiterate how awesome it is to just come out here and chill and have a cigar and just detune a little bit. Actually, a friend of mine, the CEO of a company that I know, actually goes to a kind of like a CEO doctor. If you don't know about those, there's a lot of CEOs go to very specific doctors to maintain their health, just to make sure that they, you know, are in great health, because they, you know, have a company that supports a lot of people and families, so they, you know, really stay on top of their health. And he indicated to him, you know, hey, I do smoke cigars now and then. Should I not do that? Like, is that bad for my health or my heart? And the doctor, who's a very high-end doctor, actually told him, no. The benefit you're getting from relaxing while you're having that cigar outweighs any health concerns you would have about smoking a cigar. So he literally, top doctor, told him, have the cigar, man. Just relax and enjoy. So I want to really hit home on that, especially when you're talking about coming out in the morning and having a cup of coffee and just relaxing. There's something about sitting out here and hearing the rain fall and having a cigar and my cup of coffee before my busy day starts is just awesome. And another thing I was thinking about while I was just kind of sitting here having my smoke is that I know that a lot of times when I'm talking about these Drew Estate cigars, sometimes the descriptions I'm giving are kind of vague, and I understand that, because arguably out of all of these cigars, pretty much only one of them tastes like it's called it mint, and it tastes like mint. But Drew Estate, the way they do their cigars, they're very secretive about their blends. They're very secretive about their infusing process and the different botanicals and oils they use for their cigars. So it's really hard for me to tell you, like, hey, this tastes like whatever. I mean, even the Java Red. Well, what the hell's red taste like? I mean, I don't know. So when I'm giving you a description on these cigars, I know sometimes they seem vague, like the Tabaks. You know, a lot of people will talk, like the Dulce will say that it sort of has some coffee flavors. So I would argue that the Tabaks have like a coffee note to them. Or the Naturals, I think, are I keep saying natural. I know it does say Larutan on it. They're usually listed under like their natural series. That's why I'm saying naturals. That's why I'm trying to. I wanted to add this because I don't want you to be confused. So under the natural series, again, there's no distinct flavor profile. I can't tell you that these taste like, you know, Colombian coffee. They don't. They're very unique, and the way Drew Estates does their cigars, and partially why I like them so much, is because they're very kind of secretive about their blends and the botanical oils they use and things like that. So, you know, I apologize if sometimes these descriptions seem vague, but to be honest with you, the only one I can tell you that tastes like something specific is this one, because it tastes like mint. The rest don't. The rest are kind of unique, and it's something you really just have to kind of try. Anyway, I just wanted to add that in because I know while I was sitting here after shooting the video, I was just kind of sitting here chilling, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm showing you cigars, and some of the descriptions I'm giving you seem so vague that it's hard for you to really grasp onto what the flavor might be like, and that's true. So it is something you're really just going to have to kind of go try. What I'm always going to try to lean you towards are cigars that I know are really good. It would be an odd thing for me to show you a cigar and say, go try this, and then in my own mind going, God, that cigar tastes like crap. No, I'm showing you really good flavored cigars. You know, the Kuba is one of the #1 selling cigars there is, and there's a reason for it. But I can't really just tell you, this tastes like this, because it's very, very unique and complicated on how this thing is done and how it tastes. So, again, just understand that, you know, I'm not trying to be vague on my descriptions. They're just hard to describe. And it's also like whiskeys, it's like wines, it's like anything else. It's going to be unique to the person partaking. So I can tell you all day long that I think this has these kind of notes in it, but if you're not retrohaling, if you don't have the kind of the flavor palettes that I've developed or other people have developed even much further than mine, you might think I'm crazy going, I don't taste any coffee in that, or I don't taste these leather notes you're talking about. So that's kind of why that is that's why I'm just going to show you cigars I think are really good, that I know that if you were to go buy one, you would not leave a comment going, man, you really steered me wrong. That was horrific. These are really good cigars. So anyway, I just wanted to add that in at the end of the video, just to kind of make that clear. Anyway, I'm going to finish this smoke. I promise I'm done now. And finish your smoke, finish your cup of coffee, and go have an awesome day. Bye.